to just the Wright brothers. Orville and Wilbur, to be specific. Anyway, that's the way I heard it.
That turned into an airplane,
because
of the Wright brothers. Think of this. The video game world has this program called Real Engine 5. And so games like Call of Duty, Minecraft, those types of things, all of a sudden, those are the realities now in the latest theatrical motion pictures. The toys of what we had our kids when they were, have a video game console in their hands. And
No, I'm giving it to your son. You can't be trusted with it.
Give it back.
Don't give it to him.
I just want to show you.
This is what happens with toys.
See,
Brothers fight.
This is the two cameras over my shoulder here this way. There's the jib. The jib can move around. Okay, there's my camera over there. This is a real barn,
Oh, yeah.
That's a saw. That's like saw blade right there.
Is this Mr. Rogers now?
Yeah. And
this is a saw?
That's Mike.
This is a fake host.
Okay,
this is a table.
All right. Go over there and point it at Ray. Ray's right there. Just kind of walk right into Ray. There.
Ray needs some screen time.
Ray helps.
You'll be hearing from his agent for sure.
But hey, Caitlin, now go show Tom Newman and Mary and Steve.
Yeah, see?
Steve's the one with the giant beard compensating for something. I'm not sure what. And so think of just the idea of fun, curiosity, these moments that we're experiencing with a camera that used to weigh 50 pounds on a shoulder that was, Mike,
I'm with you.
Going so fast. Make it stop, please, at some point.
But it probably will. So there was an old show called Tactical to Practical,
right,
which talked about the way military inventions or devices that were created specifically for military application find their way into civilian life. And the examples are bajillions. The same thing happens in reverse sometimes, but with toys, it happens all the time. And again, all of these weird sort of serendipitous evolutions all start in the same place: curiosity. What happens if for the first time in the world we're connected to billions of people? What happens now? I can go live on Facebook, hit live stream, and I don't have Kaylin's little toy, but I got this thing, and I can hit live, and I can reach 10 million people through this right now. Now, I'm not going to do that. I think because I've learned that would be dumb. There are lots of reasons not to do that, but it took a minute to figure that out. And a lot of people are still struggling to figure out how to use social media, how to use this incredible piece of tech at our fingertips. Hello, AI.
Yeah.
It's here. It's happening. What are we going to do?
You might, nobody's coming by there to buy stuff, so to get into the first-class market, you pay a toll. And that's what tariffs are. And that is how every American needs to understand and get behind President Trump on this and stop listening to the business media with their whining and whinging in opposition to this. They need to really focus and see how this was how America functioned for a very long time, the majority of its history. And that got perverted in some sense, slowly.
One of the challenges that exists with bringing back manufacturing, reinvigorating manufacturing, the trades are not considered something that's the noble profession or something like that. It's something that's almost looked down on a little bit still. And of course, there's people who are trying to change that, like Mike Rowe prominently with the scholarships that he gives and so forth. The issue is that there's, at the same time, there just aren't enough people who know how to do a whole range of things. There's a huge skilled labor shortage, right? I don't know how much of that fits into manufacturing and how much of that fits into other areas, but it's a major issue we have to deal with, I think.
So in 2021, Deloitte Institute of Manufacturing did a study, and they found that there will be 2.1 million unfilled manufacturing jobs by 2030, costing America $1 trillion in GDP.
And that's even at the trajectory of not reinvigorating manufacturing.
Of not Trumponomics. Of not, and so let's just say it'll be 5 million, right? Because President Trump's going to explode manufacturing, and and we're going to have a lot of unfilled jobs. So again, what was the cost of free trade? America lost its human capital. And if you want to understand the value of human capital, is Germany and Japan, devastated post-World War II, very industrial societies. The Marshall Plan for Germany built their economy up again because they had the human capital, the knowledge to rebuild the manufacturing industry there. You know, if they had a bunch of lawyers and accountants and no manufacturers, they probably wouldn't be a top 5 world economy after World War II. The cultural perception of the manufacturing industry has to be changed by government marketing. The government marketed for COVID and monkeypox awareness. I think every high schooler in America should read my book. I wrote it for them. I wrote it to let them know there's another pathway. There's another choice on the menu of life besides go to college, get 60 grand in debt, don't start earning money for 5 years after high school, go get a low-paid internship. I think there should be an economic study where if you get involved in the manufacturing industry, I know 18, 19-year-old guys making 50, 60 grand in the manufacturing industry, running $500,000 machines, make another 10 or 20 grand a year doing overtime, no college debt. How does these lives look different in 30 years as opposed to getting a communications degree and working as an intern? And it's really interesting. 50% of Americans with a college degree enter the workforce at a high school labor level. So I find that the degreed class is oversaturated. There's too many cooks, head chefs. Everybody wants to be Gordon Ramsay. Too many Gordon Ramsays in the kitchen, and not enough sous chefs and line cooks and dishwashers. And we need to start to build the manufacturing industry up in our culture. And I think it'll help create a stronger middle class. One of the studies I found most fascinating when I did my research for this book was that the census in 2015 showed for the first time on record that the middle class Americans did not make up the majority of Americans. And that's really the American dream, right? The middle class. And the manufacturing industry has historically been the path to the middle class. I had a friend actually comment, well, I looked at that study and the upper middle class grew. And I said, that's exactly the problem. The rungs of the economic ladder, the lower middle class, the middle class have been kicked out. And that pathway has been, now upper middle class and elites, and then the lower class. And the manufacturing industry used to bridge those gaps. And I think that we need to get back in the high schools. Losing shop classes, I think we need to teach in high school how important it is to make a product, how it adds value, and that you can make really good money in the manufacturing industry. And it's really going to explode as President Trump brings the nation's attention to how important it is.
Well, this has been an absolutely fascinating conversation for me. Perhaps a final thought as we finish?
I want President Trump to tell every American to read my book, because I wrote my book as a propaganda tool to counter Milton Friedman's capitalism and trade. And I think seeing the administration stand at the podium and argue with all these reporters, that argument will end if people just understand the industry. And I think my book best opens up the minds of Americans to the importance of a domestic manufacturing base. And this is a survival.
Well, John Gardner, it's such a pleasure to have had you on.
Thanks, John. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you all for joining John Gardner and me on this episode of American Thought Leaders. I'm your host, Jan Jekielek.
So it's on one hand merciless, and on the other hand, kind of just selfless love.
Mm.
Selfless love.
Yeah.